It's Market Watch, and you know what we do here. We break down all the numbers regarding the capital market. First, we're seeing what is happening with the NGX. The market really closed, gaining 46 points, and it's a great time for the market. Market capitalization, 93 trillion naira. Gaining 6 basis points. Let's move on to the second one. We're also going to be taking a look at what is happening between Geregu Power and also Transcorp. It's going to be like a face-off. We're going to be comparing the numbers because the Q3 results are out, and you know how we do it here. The numbers, the data determines what we discuss, and that gives you an informed decision as to how to approach the market. And then we're going to be taking a look at what is happening. 5 corporate issuers, commercial papers from Dangote Sugar, and then we're having Payaza Africa, commercial papers, Naval Limited, DLM Capital, and Eunisell. All these companies are issuing commercial papers. All this conversation is what we're going to be having on Market Watch, brought to you by Nairametrics Television. My name is Frank, and you know I don't come alone. I've got 2 amazing gentlemen. One is on tie, the other is not on tie. I love this combination. Idika and Mukhtar Mohammed. You're very much welcome to Market Watch again.
Thank you for having me. When I'm on time, Idika is not on time.
Exactly. It's like you planned it.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Okay, look at what happened on Tuesday. And the NGX on Tuesday grew marginally with an all-share index of 6 basis points, gaining 6 basis points. I know you don't like the all-share index because you always say your portfolio is what matters the most. Everything can be happening to the all-share index, but as long as your portfolio is decent, then you're well to go. Idika, what do you think about what happened on Tuesday? What do you think we're going to have a sustained momentum going in October?
Yeah, I think so. Especially we're expecting earnings. You know, this earning season. So, investors might be standing along waiting for results to come in, and that will actually determine how far. But I think the momentum is going to be sustained.
What do you think is the outlook for the rest of the year with the markets? Interest rate dropping, all these things, all factors that you think would affect the market. Do you think it's going to turn out really good? Do you think we're going to have a lot of...
Well, if you talk about interest rate, it should be positive to the market. Like Idika said, this earning season, what we normally see in the market is after some earning season, third quarter, people begin to project what will happen in.
But don't you think we'll have a lot of sell-off? Because
what you normally have is what we call portfolio reshuffling. When those results come, a lot of investors reshuffle their portfolio, especially institutional and high net investors. But for the retail investors, they are more or less looking towards that dividend payment. So a lot of them will not look at that Q3 results and then begin to queue in. So I totally agree with him. The momentum is on, and I think the momentum will definitely be sustained. If you talk about what are those equity that you really have to look up to the momentum towards the end, we mustn't forget that the financial sectors are still the key drivers of the market. They exercise the tier 1 bank and also what I call a tier 2 bank, but it seems that very soon we'll only have tier 1. So I think the market will have a very positive ending going into October.
But last month you said consumer goods. Right now you're saying the financial sector.
No, the financial sector is still there. But if you ask me, between the financial sector and the consumer goods, I'll go for the financial sector.
Financial sector, consumer goods.
I think for now, I look at it that the financial sector is on the waiting list. Most of them are likely to come up maybe towards the end of the year.
Okay.
You see what happened to Stanbic IBTC last year, I think this week, I think on Monday, it moved up from 109, started with the week to about 115.
Yeah.
Analysts has projected that, okay, fine. If you're already in, you can hold, because some of them analysts are saying that, okay, fine. We expect the stock to re-rate. As a matter of fact, I wrote a piece on that on Monday, projecting that, okay, fine. I'm looking at an upside potential to 115 naira, and which by Tuesday it climbed to 115 naira from 109. So the same thing, we are going to see much improvement from the banking sector. But I think where the consumer goods sector is going to have advantage for now, because of the drop in rates. the stability in FX, all those things are going to impact, and they are coming up. They are doing very well. So.
Yeah, I thought I agreed, especially the drop in rate and then the stability in the exchange rate.
Yeah.
But as an investor, again, I have to do what Idika does that very well. But the comparable analysis, when you look at the price of what you have in the financial sector, he has mentioned one bank has gone about 115 as Stanbic. You still have a lot of potentials in bank like Zenith Bank, in bank like even GTCO, and also in banks like Access Bank. For me, for me, Access Bank is a gold mine for investors at this moment. UBA also
undervalued.
Is definitely very, very undervalued.
I have seen that with all the acquisitions.
So,
what do you think is the reason for that? Just briefly.
Briefly, I think the reason for that is just because we've not gotten that second quarter result.
We've
not gotten, and that result is still with CBN, and with CBN and CBN telling us they've shifted the gospel twice. Hopefully, they say from now till on the 22nd of October. Hopefully, any moment from now, the market will respond, and if that result is released and that result is good, the market will definitely respond positively to it. So you can see that's why you see the stock sometimes it hit a high of 27 naira 50 kobo. Then you saw it retail bound to 25 naira 90 kobo yesterday. So anytime you see this opportunity for investors, I think it's a buy time for Access Bank.
Then importantly for the banking sector, I think it should be the most undervalued stock you have sector, because most of them they are trading below their book value, even if they are not trading as high compared to their book value. So the banking sector is somehow undervalued, even if you look at the
undervalued, and it's still the one driving the entire market.
Well, it depends on the.
No, I don't think it's driving the entire market.
It's not driving the entire market.
That's why it's.
What do you mean by a stock? When you say a stock is undervalued, it means that yes, what the market is even pricing is low compared to what actually the stocks are worth. So, and if you look at their price to earning ratio, look at their price to book ratio, you see that they are relatively undervalued, and that means there is still room for potential upside. So that's the key thing. I always like to look at stocks that are undervalued, especially if they are undervalued and at the same time they have growth potentials, because most of them, the banking sector, I think they have on average about 63% compounded annual growth rate over the past 5 years. So that shows that one, they're undervalued and they will have that growth potential in terms of profits. So it is a good sector. I
even like the fact that they're pretty much liquid, because liquidity is also a very important.
That's why they are
exactly.
In terms of trading liquidity, the sector has the highest trading liquidity, which is equally a plus for the sector.
A big plus.
Geregu Power, Transcorp. So who do I pick? It's a face-off now. I'm going to give you Geregu Power, Idika Aja, and I'm going to give you I'm going to give you Transcorp, and I'm going to give Mohamed Mukhtar Geregu Power. So let's start with Transcorp. Let's have the face-off. Numbers are out. Who do you think performed better? Let's look at their Q3 result. Who performed better?
If you really want to find out who performed better, there are key metrics you have to use. So.
Based on your balance sheet.
You can look at their balance sheet. You can look at their profit. You can equally look at their margin. You can equally look at their scale. Well, for Q3, I think in absolute numbers, Transcorp did better. I think with about 32 billion pre-tax profit compared to 11 billion of Geregu. But in terms of growth, Geregu did better in terms of profit growth. I think he achieved about 82% profit growth compared to, I think the other one is about, the other 11% or thereabout. And I think 8%. So you see it now in absolute figures, numbers. Transcorp did better, as it was able to at least earn more, 32 billion. While Geregu and 11 billion.
Geregu, what do you think?
We talked about it last time in our last program on Monday. For me, Geregu Like I told Idika, we talked about it. Will I go for Geregu or will I go for Transcorp? I will look at what we call price variation. I look at what Geregu is selling, and I will look at what Transcorp is selling. Then I will look at the earning per share also.
Yeah, sure.
And I will look at the PE ratio. Idika gave us a very PE ratio of Geregu. I can't remember that makes it that Geregu is really very, very expensive. Then we need to also look at the float in terms of availability. That's also key in driving that those stocks. So if you ask me, will I go for Geregu or will I go for Transcorp? What Idika doesn't talk about it sometimes again is perception. Perception sometimes can make all the difference.
Yes,
so
actually.
Investor perception. And then investor perception is largely driven by volume and price. If I look at the price now, how much of this will I get in terms of volume? Then in terms of price appreciation, is it easier for Transcorp to move from 49 Naira to 100 Naira before the end of the year? Then from Geregu to move from 1,000.
1,140.
So I leave that. I leave that to you people. So you should know where I stand.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mukhtar.
But I think it's really going to be around the retail investors. Institutional investors are not going to be really bothered about that price.
How can retail investors how can retail investors? The issue is this, like he really mentioned. The most important thing there, I always advise is the trading liquidity.
Yes.
So, which is very, very important, especially for the retail and for the retail investors.
Yeah, true.
Geregu does not have much liquidity because of its maybe because of its free float is tightly held compared to Transcorp. But again, I always like looking at their valuation, like he mentioned, the price to earning ratio, the price to book ratio, and price to sale ratio. Now, Transcorp is trading at 27x earnings, while Geregu is trading at 103. 103. You can see it. That means it's telling you that for every 1 Naira profit, you are paying 27 Naira if it is Transcorp. Then for every 1 Naira profit in Geregu, you are paying about 103.
Yeah.
You see the difference. So
Geregu
has a premium valuation compared to Transcorp, which makes it a little bit, like I put it that way, a little bit expensive compared to Transcorp. But the most important thing is to equally look at their growth. When you look at the price to earning ratio, look at the growth. I think over the past 5 years, Geregu has grown earnings by about 18%. So which is not too strong enough to match that
price.
that price, to even, because when you see when a stock has that premium valuation, that means investors might be expecting a sustainable in profit growth. So if the profit growth is not strong enough, that could mean that the stock is overvalued.
So okay, I want to ask a very, very unconventional question, and it has to do with, you mentioned the perception. Look at Tony Elumelu and Femi Otodola. The perception of retail, the perception that the market will have. What do you think investor sentiment would be towards those personality? Because perception also drives the market. Look at Elon Musk and what is happening with Tesla. So do you think that a Tony Elumelu factor is also playing out in the with Geregu? Because see their result, with Transcorp, I beg your pardon, because see their result, Tony is very outspoken. You see him online, he's branding everything, always keeping investors updated regarding latest happenings in his companies. Do you think that is a major factor as well playing out in the market, or you think we've not gotten to that level?
Is it when investors want to do, they look at your pedigree, they look at what you've done previously with that, what gives them a perception about who you are, what they expect from you. Are you an owner that have the interest of the stock of the shareholders? So they look at that, and if you look at that perception, a lot of people will go with Femi Otodola in terms of history. He always liked to reward investors. And that was why a lot of investors were happy when he came into First Bank, because they feel their reward season has come compared to the previous investor. If you look at companies that he upheld before, AP and others, you see the way, in terms of bonus, in terms of dividend payment. And then when you look at Tony, yes, the branding is there, the movement is there, and you just look at, what happened? When you look at his reward mechanism to shareholders is always a long time. So you have to be a long-time player to really enjoy what Tony is going to bring to the table. But if you're a short-time player, you always definitely will enjoy what Femi does.
Do you share the same sentiment?
Yeah, I agree somehow. But I agree to an extent. Well, yes, the individual mindsets, how they see things, how they view things, at times have an impact on investors. But for me, I always look at
Numbers.
Numbers.
Your numbers,
look at
man.
numbers,
Yes.
especially my own interest, which is the same thing to every investor, is what's known as total shareholders return.
Oh,
what is my return?
Yeah, true.
And that's why I love-
Capital gain, and dividend yield.
Yeah.
So out two of them, that will not give me my total shareholders return, and that's what I'm interested in. And,
Exactly.
and what,
that's why you see that I always tell you that I'm not interested in the whole share index.
yeah, that is what I'm interested. What is my return as a shareholder? Do you
Very
get
true.
the point?
And your return is always driven by the earning per share. How much they will be able to pay you.
Sure. And that brings down to the issue of where the personalities involved.
How much are they ready to share?
What is the efficiency level in order to
Share the money.
in order to increase your profit and increase your earning per share? If your efficiency level is okay, definitely your earning per share will increase.
Okay.
And that will now affect even your valuation, and at the same time affect what you pay as dividend. Remember, two of them are dividend paying companies.
Very true.
Yeah.
This one paid the last annual 50 kobo, which is good. The other one paid an interim dividend of 150 kobo, which is equally good. But the key thing then when it comes to dividends, which we equally adds to the capital gain, is the dividend yield. So if you check out what the Geregu is trading at, the share price, and look at the annual dividend, you can now see the dividend yield might likely be lower than that of Transcorp based on their share price.
One-liner answer, Geregu or Transcorp? One-line answer. Which of them are you going with?
Yes,
One-line answer. Geregu or Transcorp?
It's not always easy to give you that one-line answer, but I think if you look at valuation, Geregu is better priced than Transcorp is better priced than Geregu. It seems that the growth we already have the share price has already priced in the growth you have now. And apart from that, Geregu has been bearish.
Who would
this
you
year.
go with?
One line answer.
Transcorp. Transcorp Power. I don't even have to think about it. Just to add to Transcorp Power, they are doing their. You see that they almost increase their power capacity. Mm-hmm. They've always, I think the one in Delta, the Okbela, is it the one in Delta? They've all improved this capacity from when they got it to where it is now. So there's always that innovation trying to improve it.
And I think I saw, is it yesterday? I saw an article from Nairametrics yesterday. Tinubu signed the agreement to pay the Genco debt, I think about 4 trillion or thereabout, but I'm not too sure. I think I just flipped through it yesterday. Okay. So that could equally help
the sector.
Help them, you understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Commercial papers. At least 5 corporate issuers have launched CP offers. And let's look at them. We have Dangote Sugar Refinery, Series 15 and Series 16. I know they're very fond of CPs. Payaza Africa, we have number 2. We have Eunisell Limited, DLM Capital Group, and Eunisell. What do you think? Does this really reflect the growing increase in the use of CPs? And why do you think this is happening?
Because of cost of funding.
Sure.
Of that.
It's very simple.
It's very simple. Cost of funding, because you're going to lend from the bank, you're borrowing at almost 27%.
More than that now.
But
your commercial paper is about 21-22%.
21-22. I've not seen anyone that is above 23 or 25. You are even talking of you are not even talking of the discount rate. You're talking of the implied yield. Now, what he said is this. You understand? The MPR now is at 27.
Yes.
So when you go to the bank to borrow, because these are short-term financing, borrowing to finance your working capital, I think that's what most of them are using it for. Now, if you go to the bank now to borrow, MPR is 27%. So that means there is no bank that can give you at 20, even at 27, they cannot give you. So from, let's say, start counting from 28 up. If you are lucky, you can get at 30 or 31%. Now, it is better for them now to issue commercial papers, for them to raise money at lower than that 27% MPRO, 27%. So you see the reason why most companies use that, like you already mentioned. That's a key point there.
That's a good point.
So what do you think is the difference between implied yield and discount rate? What's the major difference?
Okay, now normally if you see the commercial papers, you see discount rate, you see implied yield.
Yeah.
Discount rate, and I say, okay, this commercial price issued at a discount rate, let's say 20%. What is that discount rate is trying to explain to you? It determines the purchase price of that commercial paper. If you, for instance, like Eunisell now, assuming that Eunisell issued at 20%, discount rate of 20%, and that means for 1 million you are buying for, maybe assuming you are buying 1 million worth of that commercial paper, it means that they will discount 20%. So what is 20% of 1 million naira? So maybe say 800,000 naira or thereabouts. So that is the purchase price. So the discount rate determines the purchase price of a commercial paper. Now the implied yield tells you how much in annualized terms you are actually earning from that commercial paper when they are issued, provided that you hold it till maturity.
Maturity.
So it's the difference between, now this one is let's say 800,000 for 1 million. That's what we are paying. Face value at maturity, they will not give you 1 million naira. So the difference between 800 and 1 million naira is normally what we call the implied yield. So, but it means also that you have to hold it till maturity. And another key thing then that even that yield they are giving, maybe you can see always that the implied yield is always higher than the discount rate.
Very true.
Good. So it means that you can even get higher than that if you now accept it the way, if you apply it, if you use it the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because if you are buying, let's say the minimum is 5 million naira, you keep 5 million naira in your account, and they said discount rate is 10%. That means they will now take 10% is of 5 million is
500. Okay.
Is it 500,000? 500,000. So they will now take 4.5 million naira. Now instead of you now seeing, okay, I bought this in at 4.5, which is the discount.
Yeah.
You have to reinvest that 500.
Yes.
Oh.
If you reinvest that 500, because you have already brought out 5 million naira to buy this commercial paper, but because it is a commercial paper, they will not take the whole 5 million naira.
They'll give you upfront.
They will give you upfront.
Just like
they will
T-bills.
they now take 4.5 million. So instead of you now using that 500,000 naira, which is a difference, maybe you say, okay, you have earned it. No, you have to reinvest it. If you reinvest it, by the end of the period, you are likely to get more than what the employee quoted.
So is commercial paper really? Is it close to risk-free? Is it close to? I'm using that word.
It's not close to risk-free, and that is why at a point you saw that before now, Security and Exchange Commission were not involved in the regulation of commercial papers.
Yeah.
But when they see that it's becoming the new trend, now they get themselves involved in it because it's not really risk-free because you are lending to a company. Some of those companies, sometimes you don't even hear their name. But I heard some of those names sometimes for the first time. But again, it's also like when you're investing in the stock market, there are growth stock, there are stocks that just come in that have potential to grow. They are the known ones. So where do you go to? So when you see a commercial paper like from Dangote Sugar or most of those, the time we had from Profit or Bank, even Access Bank even did commercial paper at a point.
I've even seen from a school before. Is it Corona or
so
you
see that those when you do commercial papers like that is not really risk-free because again it's more or less investing in a company. The company is supposed to pay, but anything can go wrong.
I agree with you. Let me just when you talk of risk-free asset, I think the only asset that is a risk-free asset is treasury bills,
T-bills,
government securities,
and bonds.
Now from what he said, yes, it is not really a risk-free asset because they are issued by corporate organizations. They are issued by corporate. Yeah. Now the difference is what you can check most of those the releases. You can see where they have, which is very, very important, where they have rating.
Yeah.
Oh, rating.
Yeah.
So that ratings now help you now to determine, okay, this company has a better rating. and that will now help you to decide whether I will buy or not. If you don't have a good rating, that means default risk is likely to be likely to be big.
Okay.
You understand? Default is likely to be bigger. So you just, what's the thing you have to check is to check one, like you said, you have already mentioned, just check the default risk, the rating, which will determine the default risk.
Okay.
Check the yields, both discount and implied yields.
Yeah.
Especially on a cautionary note, if the yield is high, note it could be a red flag.
Yeah.
Because if you check those issues, you can see that Dangote Sugar has a lower yield.
Yeah.
Because one, Dangote is quoted. Maybe it has a better rating than the others. So these are the things you have to watch out when you want to invest in commercial paper.
Check the ratings. He said it. Idika Aja has said it. The man behind the articles you read on Nairametrics, especially that related to the capital market. You want to check the ratings for you to be able to determine whether it's risk-free, not necessarily risk-free, to check how risky this particular company is you're about to invest. That's really the amazing thing about commercial papers. I like to call it like the private form of T-bills. That's how I like to call it. Anyways, we've had conversations regarding CPs. We've had conversations. It was even a face-off between Geregu and Transcorp. Which of them are you going to be investing in? Tell us in the comment section based on their Q3 result, and also taking a look at the all-share index, what happened yesterday, how the market performed. This was brought to you by Nairametrics Television, and this is Market Watch. My name is Frank. I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you keep liking, sharing, subscribing. We do this every Mondays and Wednesdays. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.